I'm Vicky from Bonsai Woman, and this morning I'm going to show you how to spin yarn on a Mind Spinner. I'm going to spin some lovely natural grade Jacob wool. The first step is to take your fibre and gently tease out about 10 to 15 centimetres of fibre. The thickness of what you're teasing out will determine the thickness of your yarn. This is what we call drafting. So once you've drafted out about 15 centimetres in length, pinch where the drafted fibre meets your fibre supply, and with your other hand, gently twist those fibres towards you. We're creating what's called a leader, and it's called that because it's the start of our spun yarn. Once I've got a reasonable amount of twist, it should look like that, I'm then going to attach that leader to the top of the paddle of my spinner. This part is the paddle, and you'll see that there's a nice groove carved into the top. I'm going to tie this leader onto that groove with a secure knot. Sometimes this can be a little bit tricky to do because your leader might be a little bit fuzzy, but just make sure that it's a good, tight, secure knot at the top. There we go. So it should look like that at the top of your paddle. Now it's time to pop the handle into your paddle. So you'll see there's a hole at the top of your paddle. So I place my handle in. I'm going to make sure that my paddle is oriented so that that notch at the side is closest to my body. Now it's time to add some twist. And the way we do that is by pinching where my leader meets my fibre supply, taking the handle of my paddle and then rotating that paddle towards myself, just like a children's clacker toy. I let that twist build up so we've got a nice amount of twist in that leader. Then I park the paddle, park it down in between your knees. Then where my pinch is being held with my left hand, I'm now going to swap it and hold it with my right hand. I'm going to draft back some fibre with my left hand, pinch again where the drafted fibre meets my fibre supply, let go of my pinch, and you'll see that the twist will travel up into where you've just drafted. I'm going to do that a few times just to use up that twist that I built up in my leader. Pinching, drafting back, pinch, let go. And you'll get to a point where there's not very much twist left in your leader. When you get to that point, pick up your paddle again and rotate it again towards yourself. We call this method of spinning park and draft because we park our spinning tool and then we draft our fibre. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I've got to a point where my arms are outstretched to a comfortable length. Being a bonsai woman, that's not very far for me. I get to about there. Once I'm there and I've got twist that kind of looks like that in my yarn, your yarn might be lumpy and bumpy and full of beautiful texture, or it might be very consistent. It doesn't matter, it's all beautiful. Once you get to that point, we're going to store the spun yarn onto the base of our paddle. To do that, we're going to wrap it so that it tucks into that little notch on the side. So I'm going to take that yarn, tuck it into the notch, and then take it around the back of my paddle, okay? So tucking it into that notch and then around the back of my paddle and then wrapping it around the base a few times, leaving about a paddle's length of yarn, then back up, tuck it into that notch, and then wrap it a few times around that groove at the top. So down through the notch, round to the back, wrap it around the base, back up to the notch, and wrap it around the groove. Then you're ready to start spinning again. Parking, drafting, adding twist, park, draft, let that twist travel up, draft again, let the twist travel up, rotate. You can watch the twist travel up and just judge when you think you've run out of twist and you need to start rotating to add some more twist. I've stretched out about far enough now. It's time for me to store my yarn again at the base of my paddle. So this time I just need to unhook my spun yarn off the top of my spinner. So I unwind that off the top, then I wrap it around the base, like so, then back up into that notch and around the groove. And I'm ready to go again. So the yarn will just keep building up at the base of the paddle, and we call that a cop of yarn. Parking and drafting again. And that's how easy it is to spin yarn on your Mind Spinner. If you're interested in learning more about these tools, you can head to my website, which is bonsaiwoman.com.au. And from there's a link to my Etsy store where you can buy yourself a Mind Spinner as a single paddle or as a 3 paddle set. Thanks for watching and happy spinning!